You're now diving into the fish tank.
Dive up in that fish tank. Who that? Sitting down with Seth Living, OJ, Juice Man, ooh, and this is strictly for them true fans.
So, Manny, we've had a few different guys here in the tank, who, and including the three who just were here before you, who played for George Wilson, and then they experienced the transition into Coach Shula's way of doing things, which clearly was very different from the way Coach Wilson did things. What were your memories of that experience?
Oh, we went from what I call a player's coach to a real coach.
Yeah.
Yes. George would drink with us. I mean, we had a lot of fun with him. He loved team parties. He
was a player's coach.
Oh, we'd have team party every Thursday night. I mean, that was all through the first 2 years I was here. We didn't win any games, but we had a great time. Had a lot of fun. And then in came Coach Shula, and I mean, it was a total 180, I guess you'd say. There were no parties. He canceled out we had a tradition. It was called Rookie Night, where the rookies would put on a show. Well, Shula went along with that the first year. And he went through one show, canceled the whole thing forever.
That was
really
it.
Oh yeah.
What was
the Thursday night? That was the Thursday night.
What did him in? Like, what was the act that was too much for him?
John Stofa brought in a couple of young ladies from one of our topless places.
Oh man,
put on quite a show for us.
It sounds like it. See, Channing Crowder thought he invented that. Right. Apparently, he didn't.
Coach Arnsbarger left the room. He just stormed out. When it was all over, we were informed in no unlikely terms that was the last show and the last rookie night.
Wow.
That was the night after the final cut. And what they would do is the veterans from the show would then take the rookies out, get you trashed, and then come back, and they'd see who could play the next morning.
Yeah.
And that's when they would cut again. Because if you couldn't drink and play the next day, George didn't want you.
You weren't worthy. You weren't worthy.
You weren't his kind of player.
Well, he came from the Detroit Lions with Alex Karras and that whole bunch.
My God.
Joe Schmidt. They were famous for that.
Yeah, you guys can go be sober and win somewhere else, but down here we're going to have a good time.
And George played for the Bears back in the day.
Say no more.
Yeah, I think that kind of covers it all.
Tell us a little bit about the no-name defense and what made you guys so special and dominant, and what made you guys click the way you did. Because we've heard we just had a bunch of offensive guys in here, and they talked about how good you guys were, how smart you were, how few mistakes you made, and that was more of the key. But talk a little bit about that.
Well, you pretty much summed it up. I remember I think it was 1973 season. As a defense, there had been 5 mental errors made in the regular season.
That's so crazy.
Now, you physically get beat. It's going to happen. The other team gets paid too. But to not make but 5 mental errors with we did a lot of blitzing, line calls, things going on while the fans are making noise, and yet nobody missed a call. Nobody made them, just 5 errors all year. That's extraordinary.
It's almost impossible.
Yeah.
It really is, and I think there's a lot of silent communication you guys had as well, because you guys knew each other so well.
Well,
and Bill, I know Bill gets a ton of credit. Your defense coordinator.
Everybody, I wanted to make more sacks, and I really should have made more sacks. But the defense was so disciplined that when we were playing, if it was 3rd and long, I wasn't turned loose. I had to watch for screens and draws. I had to play the center, make sure it wasn't screen or draw. Then I could rush the passer. And that used to frustrate, especially, this was on the prevent. And we play prevent sometimes the whole second half. We have a big lead, and we'd just be playing prevent defense. And frustrating, I can't tell you how frustrating it was.
I bet. And meanwhile, he still has the second most sacks in team history for a defensive tackle.
Right.
So I didn't know that, but that's. I had a full track swamp buggy, and we used to hunt the Everglades on our days off. Our day off.
Yeah, days off. When was that? Off season?
That particular day, it was Bill and I and a couple friends of mine, and we were deer hunting out in the Everglades, and we went through this, what we call a flag pond, and it was just loaded with alligators. Stanfield just leaned over the deck, reached down and snatched one up, about a 3-footer, and we folded it up, put it in the toolbox, and brought it back to training
Snatched it up with his hands.
Yeah, he grabbed it up with his hands by the tail. And, we taped his mouth shut, put him in a toolbox, folded him up, fit him in real nice, brought him back to training camp, and I asked Danny Dow to get him out of the trunk of my car, just bring him in the locker room because I wanted to put him in Coach Shula's shower. Well, Danny loved that. But anyway, I come in after practice, couldn't wait to get in because Coach Shula would always stay out on those days and work with the quarterbacks. So anyway, Danny came in. Did you get him? He says, hell no. He was behind your spare tire, and all I could see was that tail. I said, I told you his mouth was taped shut. Yeah, I'm supposed to believe you? So anyway, I go out. I grab Zonk. He was in the locker room. I said, Zonk, come on, give me a hand. I need some cover. So we go out and we grab the alligator. The secretary was a big Zonka fan. Larry goes in ahead of me and gets her busy doing something. I slip in behind him, get into Coach's office, put it in the shower, close the doors, slip back out. We come back out. Now we shower and leave. Well, about 7 o'clock that night, we went over. I don't remember where we went. Went and had a couple of beers. Came back and we snuck into the locker room, the back door, and Danny's telling us the story. And we're howling. He's talking about how Coach was running all the way out the door with nothing but a towel, stark naked, screaming his head off. We're howling. I mean, we are sitting in the equipment room just howling, and we look up, and there's Coach standing in the doorway.
Oh, shit.
I knew it was you. I knew it. We don't know what you're talking about, Coach. Danny's just telling us the story. Bullshit.
He wasn't buying it.
But we never admitted it. It went on for years. It was just a story.
Dolphins